business webinar, skills webinar, in fact. And today we're going to be talking about the skill of getting back an hour in every day. And I have a very special guest with me, and you can see him on the screen, of course. And he's looking very erudite and a little hirsute.
Oh.
The skills webinars are brought to you by Business because we really love it when people can actually learn to improve their skills, grow their business, and just have a bit of fun. Now, we're going to get really, really serious in a minute because this bloke, while he's erudite, he's a serious devil. But while we've been off camera, we've been having a hell of a good time. So if we get off track, just ask us a question about whatever we're off track about.
Please.
And we'll be happy to deal with it. So now that everybody's turning up, the man that I'm having a chat with today is called Les Watson. And he's also known as the Time Lord, if I remember rightly.
Mm-hmm.
Les and I ran into each other, near as damn it 5 years ago. And we've been talking back and forth occasionally, and we never get talk much sense when we're talking to each other. So today I'm just going to let him talk to you because I know he's got really good information. He's going to turn it on and we'll get you back that hour without stress. He promised me that. Exactly. He did. He promised me no stress.
Yes.
Les Watson, good morning.
Good morning. I have one question for you. Let's start off with a disclaimer. What do you reckon?
Oh, all right. We'll do the disclaimer and then we'll do the conversation.
Yeah, go on.
And there's another thing you'll notice about Les is he's right on the ball. He wants to get onto it. He doesn't want to waste time. I'm here chatting away, having a grand old time.
I'm sure it's your session. I'm sure of it.
Good morning, Les. Where have we found you geographically today?
Geographically, I jumped in the car, came from Geelong. I'm now in Brimbank. I conducted a networking event. I'm in iHarvest in the Chamber Council buildings and Brimbank, lovely downtown Brimbank in Victoria, Australia. How's that?
There you go. Perfect. And no doubt you've got beautiful spring weather. I heard Mount Buller, I think it was, also in Victoria, of course, is this week having an event because they have snow.
I believe it. It's a tad on the chilly side in November, and I don't understand it. But as I always say, I did 25 or so years in Sydney, and I say it's very exciting weather in Victoria. I'm just going to stick with that.
Fair enough. It's the old story of the other side of the river, isn't it?
Indeed.
Colleague, time, Les, is something that we all have the same amount of, don't we?
Yeah, and it affects people differently, and yet it's a constant across the board. So it's a matter of how you deal with it as to either it works for you or works against you. And some of the tips that I'll give you this morning will hopefully, and it has been proven to help everyone. So all you need to do is apply it.
That's an interesting thing, isn't it? There's all these things that work, but if you don't apply them, nothing changes.
Yes, the dreaded application of said information. I'm around education and groups, and I did one actually yesterday, an Asia Pacific training on leadership, and I said, it's not about the knowledge, it's about the application of the knowledge. So my invitation is to grab it and write down something, how you are going to apply this. So as we go through our hour today, if something comes up that you go, that's a really good point, write it down, but then write underneath it how you are going to apply it. Because the knowledge, like the dot points are great. Dot points are fabulous. I liked all those dot points, and you'll walk away with 15 dot points. And I go, yeah, but what's that mean to you? What's that application? And how do you put that in so you can get back the hour a day?
And since Les is here for the hour, take his time, and having spotted something really good and figured out how you're going to use it, put it to him. Just put it on the chat. It'll come through, and get his view. Maybe he's got extras that he hasn't told us yet.
There's possibility as well. And people are putting pieces in the chat. So yes, of course, Linda, good morning. And good morning to everyone. It's great to have you join us either live or in the replay. Fabulous.
Yes, absolutely. We appreciate you being here, because that's why we have these skills webinars. Les, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. I was ready when we got on off camera. So let's get on with it, Clive.
Here we go. It's over to you, Les.
Awesome. I love it. So we're going to talk about getting back an hour in every day. And it is, as I said, it is individual. So what I want to do is, let me see here. Let's see. All right. Did that move to the second screen? The About Me screen?
It did. I had myself muted. I was talking to you, but I was muted.
Awesome. All right. So a little bit about me so you know why spend the hour with me. I've been speaking and training for over 30 years. And before that, I did a seminar called Insight Seminars, and it changed my life. The gentleman that did that seminar, his name was David Allen. He wrote the book called GTD, or the Getting Things Done methodology. And it really did change my world. It turned it upside down. I went from someone who, what I would call as drifting dentist, to someone with purpose and goal orientated. And I was able to create more of what it was in my life. So if you're the sort of person that you're struggling to get a grip on getting traction around what it is, some of these tips are going to help. So I've worked with big companies and small. In Australia, some of these companies mean something, like the CEO Institute, Hello World, Deakin Uni, Tas Uni, RMIT, Transport New South Wales, etc., all the way from the top end of town to the bottom end and anywhere in between. And I can do one-to-ones through to a couple of hundred people at a time. And my passion is productivity and time management. I have a background in sales, customer service, leadership, and team building. Wrote a book, Get Back an Hour in Every Day. And it was really well received with Carl and Georgie, when Carl and Georgie were an item. And I didn't even notice the cameras. I had so much fun. And that's my book in Carl's hand. So I did that one. And I've also written for a little magazine called Inside Small Business. So a couple of the things here are productivity killers. Just identify your own productivity killers. And when I do this face to face, I say, how many have got one or more? The slide, and all these hands go up, and I go, okay, has anyone got all of them? And there's always one that's got all of these going on in their life. And they go, that's not good. And these are standard for corporate or small business. This happens all the time. So hopefully, or naturally, someone has got something on this. And that's not what you're after. If I had more time, I'd take you through all of these: personal audit, systems planning, self-care, purpose and vision, email and paperwork, accountability, productivity, comfort zone, leadership, discipline, continuous improvement. But we don't have time for 4 things: clarity around planning, email and paperwork about habits, systems, and on the back end, some productivity hacks. So let's get into it. Thomas Leonard said 3 problems that we have: a lack of boundaries, insufficient language, and incompletions. Talk about the incompletions, because when I've done this exercise over the years that I've been doing it, I've never had someone go, that was a complete waste of time. They've all gone, that was amazing. And it comes out of David Allen giving me, so this is his, where you have an idea and you start it, then continue it, then finish it, and then acknowledge that task. If that cycle is broken in any place, it creates an incompletion. They're the things that are incomplete. Examples would be piles of paper on a desk, or expenses reconciliation, stalled projects, broken promises, unreturned calls, emails, cluttered email meetings. Sound familiar? And the prices that you pay for this, whether you know it or not, are things like lack of motivation, lethargy, I don't want to go anywhere near it, task avoidance, anger, bitterness, confusion, stress, anxiety, lack of innovation. They're the things, whether you know it or not, it can be on an unconscious level that this stuff goes on, and that's not what you're after. What you're after is the opposite. You're after rewards for completions. You're after more energy, power, achievement, motivation, satisfaction, creativity, goal attainment, the ability to move forward, sense of control. I just want control back in my life, please, Les. Clarity, focus, peace, empowerment, freedom. And they're the rewards that come from having completions in your life. If I was in person and we were around tables, I would actually do this for about 15-20 minutes, but I'm not going to do that today. But I'll at least let you know the process that I do. And if you are really interested and you go, I want to do that, Les, then just email me and I'll make sure, in fact, I'll put it at the end, and that we get in touch, and I'll give you a link you can go to and have an audio of me taking you through this particular process. And it's a process of trigger words, the list of trigger words that you go through your mind and go, what's incomplete? What are ideas that I haven't even started? Something I've started and not continued, not finished, not acknowledged. And you do it for both areas of life, work and home. And I was working with one lady one day. She said, oh, my work's fabulous. I said, well, what about home? She went, oh, I think you've got me there. Because sometimes we neglect one area of our life and it still has an impact. So let's just start with work. And again, I'm not going to delve deep into this, but at work, what projects, for example, have you started but not completed? What projects need to be started? What's on your desk that's incomplete? What's around your desk that's incomplete? Do you have a messy desk drawer? Are there people you need to communicate with? Emails, phone calls, texts you need to reply to? Are there meetings that need to be set and requested? Are there plans, marketing plans, business plans, long-term, short-term planning? Any projects you need next steps for? And sales, if it's sales, marketing, those sorts of things. And again, this is just a brush stroke of work. But we'll go into what incompletions. I get things down as we go. So again, I'm not going to dwell on it, but you get it out of your head, down onto paper. Then we go from work to home. And it starts out exactly the same. If you've got around home that you've started but not continued, or there's projects that need to be started. Around your relationships, what promises have you made to people? You know, promises to a wife or a husband, a significant other. Friends, I like that one, called, hey, we should catch up. We've all got those people around us that we go, yep, we should catch up with them. That's an incompletion. You write that down. Have you borrowed anything from someone and not given it back? Write that down. Have you loaned anything out and it hasn't come back? Write that down. And then we go into the big one of the house, around what have you got going in your house as you go up to your house, is landscaping, the entranceway, maybe it's the roof as you go through the door, walls, floor, ceiling, the front room, the bathrooms, you know, the third drawer down the bathroom, under the bathroom sink, then the kitchen, under the kitchen sink, pantry, laundry, anything incomplete in the laundry. Again, incompletion, what you've thought of and not started, not continued, not finished, not acknowledged. Maybe it's the lounge room. Maybe it's around the TV. Maybe it's around music. Maybe it's around your phone. Maybe it's your photos on your phone. Maybe it's your phone plan. Maybe it's a screen cover. Maybe it's a phone protector. What about your car? Have you got a service for your car? Is it on a maintenance schedule? Is it clean? Center console, glove box. If it's not a car, it could be a motorbike. If it's not a motorbike, it could be a bicycle. What do you like with your health and fitness? And as far as health is concerned, I always put this in because it's really important. When's the last time you went to the doctor? For the guys, just write down, make a doctor's appointment. Why? Because most guys say, oh no, I'm fine. And what we end up with is a whole stack of people with the dreaded C for cancer because we haven't had a relationship things early. So doctor, dentist, optometrist, etc., etc. So that list is very extensive and it's available if you'd like it, but it's data dump out of your head down onto paper. And again, it's one of those things that I'd love to spend 20 minutes, but so from there, once you got it out of your head, down onto paper, the first thing you do, like I normally say to people, how's that feel? How's that feel? And people go, well, I was fine when I walked in, Les, but now I feel very bad. And I go, well, I didn't do that to you. All I did was drain the swamp and get rid of the incompletions. And being the incompletions, you have the opportunity to look at what you've left incomplete in your life. And there are others that go, oh, I've done that data dump, I've got it out, and I feel fantastic. I now know what I need to do. So given that, there are both going on. There are people that go, I've got one. There are others that go, I've got the other, and some get both. They get the, oh, and then they go, Yahoo, I now know what I need to do. So I always say, I'm not going to leave you there. I'm going to then take it to the next, and that is, once you've got it out of your head down onto paper, categorize those things that you've data dumped out of your head. Categorize them. There are some things on the list, Clive, that have been there for 12 years, mate. Time to let it go. No, I really like it. I don't want to let it go. But you haven't done it in 12 years. Energy that you're holding on, going yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. If you free up that energy, you can put it into things you really want to do. Oh, yeah. So sometimes you need to delete some things on your list. So put a line through it and go, get out of here. Then there are 2-minute jobs or less than 2, just do in under 2 minutes. And one of the reasons for the less than 2-minute jobs is simply to get on the productivity bandwagon, on that roll of, hey, I've done that one. I'm going to pick a bigger task now, and you're on a productivity roll. So lesson items. Single action items are longer than 2 minutes and not a project. Really easy. Give you an example. Library book. You pick the library book up, you put it in the car, you drive to the library, you put it through the slot and you drive back. And yes, you can do other things while you're out and about. I understand that, but in of nature. Then projects have more than one action to them. And I always ask people to, if they ever get stuck on a project, ask themselves 2 questions. What's the end result? What are based on this project? What's the end result? What is done? And if you can clarify what you're trying to achieve, you're halfway there. And then on the back end of that, come into the now and go, second question, what is the single next action item that I can do on this project? And with any project, there's always a single next action item, particularly if you know where you're headed and what done looks like. And then there is a list you can put off to the side, what I call non-business critical, for the future, what I call someday maybe or someday I'll. Someday I'll take down the east coast of Australia or up the east coast of Australia. I'll visit Japan, or I'll visit this, or I'll put a deck on my house. It's the someday maybe, someday I'll. and you get to this time of year and you go, I'm going to plan for next year, and you take things, or have a look at that someday maybe list, the someday aisle, the non-business critical for the future, and you go, is there anything on that list that I'd like to transfer into my plans for next year? Is this the year that you're going to build the patio? Is this the year you're going to go to Japan? And the answer is yes, I will go to Japan this year. Mark my words, Clive, I will go to Japan this year. I've already booked the trip to Singapore, and it's just a little hop, 7-hour hop to Japan. So that's the categorization. From there, the next one would be contextualize. Once you've got it out of your head down onto paper, put it into a context. Which of those are you doing at home? Which of them are at work, or which of them are with a client and a specific client? Or maybe you've got a team. Maybe it's which of these items do I need to handle with the team? So you put it on a team list. We've all got a contextualized, a context that we use, and that is the supermarket. So we put the shopping list on that list, and we don't worry about it until we get to that context called the shops, and they're able to buy those things. And the chemist is the same, Bunnings, any sort of hardware store. So those are contexts. And if you can contextualize it, what it enables, not worry about the things that are on the other context because you're not even there. It's like being at home and worrying about work. Can you do anything about it? No, you can't. So why are you worrying about it? Just put it on the list, and when you get to that context, you can do something about it. Now, does that differ now that we are working from home? And I'll address that straight away. And that is, we have the ability to close the door on the office space. And there are those that go, well, I work from the kitchen bench. And I understand that. The boundary on that one would be, what's the time that you to be at work? Is it 9 to 5? Is it 8 to 6? Whatever it is for you, I don't really mind. Is it just 12 to 4? But can you set an alarm for yourself that goes, this is my working day, and this is the time I have lunch? If you tried to book an appointment with me at lunchtime, because I've actually blocked that time out. Because if I don't fuel myself at lunchtime, I'm useless in the afternoon. So I have this huge salad at lunch, and I block it out so that no one can book a time with me at that time. So are you able to put a boundary for you to have lunch? Are you drinking enough water? Therefore, you're coming away from the screen and going and having a break. And you know what I mean? And are you able to put the boundaries in place of a start time and a finish time now that you're working at home? And I would highly recommend it. I was like, yeah, but, and I go, okay, whatever works. Because if it doesn't work for you, you might like to try something different. For example, let's just go 9 to 5. At home, I'm going to start at 9. So you can have your alarm set. I'm going to start now. And you start at 9. You have a morning tea, have a lunch, have an afternoon tea, and finish at 5. Your alarm goes off and you've finished the day. So that's just a little piece around time, particularly now that we're working from home. So you've got context. And those things, once you've got a categorization of all of those things, my question would be, where does it live? You've done this data dump out of your head down onto paper. Where's that piece of paper going to live? It needs to live in a trusted system. And I don't mind if it's a paper-based or an app-based. And I use both, and I've used both. And people have one over the other. And I don't really mind what it is, but what is it for you? But it needs to be, notice, it's one finger, not 15 fingers, not 5 fingers. It's one trusted system. What's the opposite? People say to me, Les, it's around here somewhere. It's on a Post-it note. Hold on. No. It was the back of an envelope. Wait, no. We were at lunch. It was on the back of a napkin. No, it's on one of those 5 journals that I had. Oh, I'm sorry, I've lost it. The trusted system is somewhere that once you take it out of your head, you can write it in one place, and therefore in trusting it, it will get done because it's in one place. And I'm going to show you both a paper-based system and an app-based system and see what works. And again, I don't have a preference one for you. I have a preference for myself because I'm old school. I'm paper-based, and I have it here. It's right beside me. There's my paper-based system. So let me show it to you and give you an understanding of what it is. There it is. There's my paper-based system with my Lamy pen. It works for me. It is one place that it's my trusted system, and it sits on the left-hand side of my computer every day so that I can get work done. And it has two halves to it, the calendar section in the front and the areas of responsibility in the back. So given that, I'd cover off both of them. So the calendar section, John Maxwell, a great leadership man and educator, he said, the secret of your success is determined by your daily agenda. And this is the worksheet that I use every day to create the world. And it's as simple as, what are the calendar events I've got going on? What meetings? Where am I specifically at what time with who? On the left-hand side. Beside that are the tasks. And then on the right-hand page, it's anything that I need to, any notes that I make throughout the day. It's appointments and it's tasks. Now, I've got a 6-ring binder. Others go, oh, that's a bit expensive. And I go, well, it works for me. But if you don't want to go to that expense, you can do it differently. You can do it with a spiral bound binder. You can do it with just, my wife said, can you just print it and take the date off it? And I do that for her, and she's able to use that every day because she's a writer, she's an author, and she works from home. So anybody that she meets, the majority of them are either at home or at the local coffee shop. But she's able to look on that one sheet, and then she just goes, okay, done that, move on to the next day. So this system works for me. What system works for you? And you can see the tabs on the right-hand side there. They are my areas of responsibility. And I want to cover off one thing before we go to that, and that is prioritization. With your tasks, as you put tasks down for the day, prioritization, and I often get people say, I just can't prioritize. And I said, prioritization is easy. It's just A's and B's. A's must get done today. B's can get done later. So if an A doesn't get done, the brown smelly stuff, Clive, is going to hit the round twirly thing. And all of us go, we don't want to have the shit hit the fan. So therefore, I need to get those done. For example, if it doesn't get done, you're going to lose money. If it doesn't get done, you're going to lose a contract. You're going to lose a contact, or you're going to lose your reputation. One of those things. They are A's and need to be done. What time of the day, you don't need to answer this, Clive, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What time of the day do you need to get your A's done? Yes, Clive, early as possible. Because we know that stuff happens throughout the day that's going to throw us off. And given that, the sooner you can get your A's done, the better it's going to be. So A's and B's. What is a B, Les? I'm so glad you asked. A B is anything that's not an A. It's something you'd like to get done in the day, but if it doesn't get done, that's okay. We'll turn into A's tomorrow. Yes, and that's okay. Deal with tomorrow, but deal with your A's that need to be done today. The sooner the better. How many things should you put on your to-do list in the day? What you believe you can get done. Don't put 40 things, because people go, I don't like this to-do list because I need to transfer everything every day. And I'm going, you're putting too many things on your list. Just put 5 or 7 things on your list, get them done. If you want to add more, great. But don't burden yourself with the amount of things you need to get done by going, I'm never going to get this and I need to transfer it across. No, just put what you need to get done, and then you can add others if you get those done. All right, back end. Areas of responsibility. These are my areas of responsibility, which is get more time invoicing, marketing, entrepreneurs, Geelong, fitness, personal and finance. Oh, and a couple at the back, talk e-commerce and tourism, and church, which is Cadinia. Now, put them all together. They look like that. Not that it's behind it. Mine. And they are the pies that I have fingers in. They are the areas of responsibility that I have. And if I'm working in one of those. So I'm able to take notes. I'm able to do follow-up. I'm able to transfer. Again, it's in one place. Now, people go, well, how do I do that? You just do a mind map. If you've never done a mind map, you just put your keyword in the middle and then put things around the outside. So this is my area of responsibility right now. I've obviously got to get more time and creating success coaching and those three. But then I've got Business Builders Group, BBG, which I run on a monthly basis. I'm writing a second book. So I've got that there. I've got fitness, finance, and personal, and that's current for everyone and relevant for everyone, those three. And then I've got a Connect group, which I meet on a fortnightly basis of men, and we get together. So they are the areas that I'm currently working with, and they live in here. They live in here. I go to, it would be relevant to take notes in here. And they are just one trusted system. So they're the areas of responsibility. And yet I get people go, oh, Les, you've moved on from paper. We're an app person now. And I go, that's okay. Nothing wrong with being used. AnyDo, Asana, Centrello, EasyNote, OneNote, Google Keep, Trello, Remember the Milk, Evernote, OmniFocus, Todoist, things. Which one works? The one that you work. There's no such thing as a perfect app. Oh, but I want the perfect app. No, stop it. That's not what you're after. You're after working an app that works for you. Which one works for a lot of people? OneNote. Why? Because it's a part of the Microsoft suite. And let me show you what that is. It's very similar to my trusted system, in which you've got notebooks on the left-hand side, you've got tabs at the top, and you've got pages down the right-hand side, just like that. That notebook has tabs at the top and the tabs on the tabs and pages. So given that, let me show you mine. So this is my workbook, and you've got Get More Time, Deakin University, Marketing, Writing, BBOC is my wife's book, and Mentoring and Localized. And the pages on the right-hand side relate to the Get More Time tab. So it's a way of working an app as if it was in the physical paper. I really like it. And a lot of people have been around OneNote and they go, I never really delved into it. And I would highly recommend you delve into it and have a look at it and see if it works for you. All right. Email and paperwork. Oh, email, the bane of my life. So many people have said it. I love $1 for that. So how to handle email and paperwork is the 4 Ds. I'll talk to you about Dale. Dale came to a public seminar of mine, and he said, Les, I need you to come to my office one-on-one. So I went to his office. I said, what's wrong? He said, email, show me. So I went over, and there were 6,000 emails in his inbox. That's not the worst. I've had a couple of people have over 100,000 emails in their inbox, but Dale had 6,000. I said, Dale, tell me, how many of those are relevant right now? He said, oh, about 20. I said, can you pinpoint them? He said, yep. I said, great. Grab the 5,980, move them off into a separate container, into a separate folder. Do not delete them. Don't have apoplexy or a heart attack about, oh, my emails. No, you're just moving them into a separate folder. Call it 2022. Call it Clive, extras, whatever you like to call it, out of your inbox. Someone once said that the inbox is a great place to work from, not a good place to store. So once he'd moved the 5,980 off onto another folder, what he ended up with was 20. He said, oh, I could do 20 emails. And he ended up, the end of the day, and inbox zero really works for a lot of people. There's two people that talk about it. One is Merlin Mann and the other is David Allen, and me, obviously. But inbox zero is a thing, and a lot of people subscribe to it where you're working from no emails in your inbox. And some people watching are going, I beg your pardon, is that a real thing or are you making it up? No, it is possible. And I know it's hard to imagine, because as soon as you open up your inbox, your email client, there's already an email in there saying welcome. But it's just got to the point where it's become a dumping ground. So I'm saying get all of the archive stuff and move it away, work from it, and get to as much inbox zero as you can, whether daily or weekly or monthly. but it really works for your productivity because you're not having to worry about, did I do it? Did I not do it? Is it like those sorts of things? Inbox zero. So how do you get to inbox zero? 4 things: do, dump, delegate, and decide when. Do, dump, delegate, and decide when. So if you can do a task with under 2 minutes, then do it. If you can do a task in under 2 minutes, just do it. Get it out. It's like handle the thing. Okay, next one is dump. The most underused key on the keyboard is delete. So whether that is a deletion of a spam or archive it off, dump it away. If you don't want to delete it entirely, just archive it as another dump, but get rid of it out of your inbox. Third one is delegate it, and delegate it nicely with clear out time frames. Don't be Teflon Tim sticks to you, Clive. No, and when you delegate it nicely with clear outcomes and time frames. And the last one is decide when. If you can't do it right now and you can do it in the future, then diarize it. Decide when you're going to do it. Put it, like I do that one, Clive, I'll do it at 4:30 this afternoon and put it in as an appointment with yourself. It's going to take you about 15 minutes. And once you've got it in there, 4:30 comes up and it goes, you've got an appointment with yourself, and then do what you said you were going to do, which is handle that particular. So those 4 things, do, dump, delegate, and decide when, can be done the same with paperwork. Do, dump, delegate, decide when. Piece of paper comes across your desk. Can you do it under 2 minutes? Is it spam, waste, and get rid of it? Do you need to delegate it? And if it needs to be done, decide when you do it, diarize it, and handle it later. And of course, the easy model. Now, this is something I left in there, but I kind of, do I have time? I don't have any time for this, Clive. It's just something that I really wanted to talk to, but I don't have the time. So I'm just going to race through this really quickly because there's lots in there. Oh, giving away the farm on this one. There's so many things I could talk to about action and support, and there's even a little story in there about me when I didn't ask for a hand and asked for help. 11:37 a.m. My watch talking to me. So asking, trusting and risking, and the obstacles to asking. I once asked somebody for help and they said no. All right, people do love the help. And if someone came to me and asked, all right, so given that, I want to talk about some productivity hacks in the last couple of minutes that we've got. And if you're really curious about all of those things I just went through, then hit me up. I'm happy to talk you through it. Handle each piece of paper once. It's like, rather than pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up and put it down, actually just be the leader. Have one of the 4 Ds, do, dump, delegate, and decide when, and handle it straight away. And you can put that one for email as well. Next one, don't use scraps of paper. What are you using? You're using your trusted system. So put it in your trusted system. People go, are you against Post-it notes? No, I love Post-it notes, as long as they live in your trusted system. So many people go, oh, no, it's on a Post-it note on my computer at work. It's on my desk on a Post-it note. Oh, it's on my screen on a Post-it note. No, don't put it there. Put it in your trusted system. Interruption. How do you handle interruptions? Maybe it's about boundaries. Maybe it's about saying no. And I'm not saying say no to a client, and yet sometimes you need to do that even. However, I am saying those people around you that want to be the time vampires, that they interrupt. If you've got 5 minutes, Clive, and you know it's not going to be 5 minutes, it's going to be 20 minutes. Sometimes you need to put in a boundary and say, well, now's probably not the best time. Can we take that up at 3 o'clock? I need to spend some time researching it and I want to come back to you. Let's take it up tomorrow, and put a boundary in place, because their urgent isn't necessarily your important. So boundaries are okay. Saying no is okay. And I will say, it's not even a no. It's like, that's not going to work for me. And I've never had anybody say, what do you mean it's not going to work for you? They just hear the words and go, oh yeah, okay. So you work for me, or you can say, that's really good. Can we take it up tomorrow or this afternoon? Boundaries. Planning each day the day before. I love this one. And yet I still get people to go, oh, that's a good novel idea. I could do that. So planning each day the day before, the last thing you do prior to the nighttime is plan tomorrow. What's coming up? Where do you need to be? What tasks do you need to do? What are those 5 to 7 things that you're going to get done tomorrow? So planning each day the day before. Meditation, prayer, or time alone each day. That's all about taking care of you. Now, I've got a big section in my program on self-care. And this particular one on meditation and prayer. Some people meditate, and that's great. Some people pray, and that's great. But if you do neither of those, take time out for you in which you can turn the computer off that's on your shoulders and just be. Try this site. Go for a walk without your phone. You what? Are you crazy, Les? No, people have done it. Trust me. So time alone each day, because you're a human being, not a human doing. And it's important to just switch off every now and then. Take all the most demanding tasks, the most productive time. Are you a morning lark or a night owl? How do you know the difference between the two? Well, the larks are the ones that come into the office and go, woohoo! Or they put their feet on the floor straight out of bed like me and go, woohoo, come on, let's go. That's me. That's what I do. That's who I am. And there are times when I do late as well. But the difference between a lark and an owl is really easy. The owls are the ones that walk in and go, don't talk to me. I haven't had 3 cups of coffee. And I know some of you are resonating with that one. Because it takes a while to get into the day. So the difference between a lark and an owl. And therefore, put your thinking tasks that are going to work for you. If you do it in the opposite, it doesn't work. Don't trust your memory, write it down. Someone once said the shortest pencil is longer than the longest memory. Shortest pencil is longer than the longest memory. So rather than, I've got a good memory, Les, it's not about that. It's about the ease with which you can find information, trusted system, and when it's written down and out of your head, it enables you to be creative. Know the economics of a task. Oh, don't spend $1,000 on a $100 task. Don't spend $100 on a $10 task. Don't spend $10 on a $1 task. What you're doing is knowing the return on the investment. So if you need to delegate something because you can delegate it, then delegate it. I call it paper clips. Stop playing solitaire, stop fiddling with the paper clips and do the work that you're supposed to be doing. And therefore, you'll get a return on that investment. Duke Ellington said, I don't need time, I need a deadline. So set deadlines for yourself. The reason that I have a book, a fully fledged set of deadline. I was sitting in a mentoring session and the woman said, you know, you've got enough material to write a book. And I went, no, I don't. She went, yes, you do. And I because I'm in circles where you don't kind of give up on a challenge, I go, okay, here's what I'll do. In 12 months' time, I'll have a manuscript. And 6 months after that, I had a fully fledged book, which put me on the Today Show. Now, what's that got to do with things? Nothing other than I set a deadline to make it happen. One of the reasons why you have so many incompletions is because you've neglected the timeframes. So you get done by the end of today. What can I get done by the end of the week? What can I get done by the end of the weekend? What can I get done by the end of the month? What can I get done by the end of the quarter? What can I get done by the end of the financial year? Those sorts of things. Really relevant when you set deadlines. You'll get stuff done. Meetings. Oh, here's a good one. Start your meetings on time, finish your meetings on time, and have an agenda. Start your meetings on time. So many meetings don't start on time, and I find that really frustrating. And corporate finds it really frustrating as well. But you can bring it out of corporate into small business and go, okay, are you starting your meetings on time? Great question, Les. I'm so glad you asked. And most people say no. Do you finish your meetings on time? Like, we're coming close to the hour. What actions have come out of this? Who owns them and by when? And always have an agenda to the agenda, and people can come to the meeting with the specifics talking points that they can talk to. All right, so that's your meetings, and that will give you back an hour right there. And the last one is cleaning up from last week, the weekly review. If you're on your own, if you're solopreneur entrepreneur, you can do it on your own by saying what worked this week, what didn't work this week, and what can I do differently going forward. If you're doing one-on-one with somebody else as a partners team, you can say what worked for you, and they can ask the same of you. What didn't work for you, and they can ask the same of you. Next week, and they can ask the same of you. You can do it as a stand-up meeting with a small team and do the same thing. And with mine, I take mine off-site, out of the office, out of the house, and I go to a coffee shop. My wife and I go through the week. I'll go through her diary and see what she did. She'll go through my diary, and then we'll go forward a week, a month to see what's coming up and plan accordingly. And I use this. This is my dashboard for my business. Now, it's not yours. You can come up with your own, but this is an example of what I use. What income came in this week? What are the bank balances? What did I invoice this week? What are the outstanding invoices? What proposals did I put forward? What are the leads that I'm currently working on and that I've booked? Meetings that I've, any public relations, TV, newspaper, podcasts, BBB, training, mentoring, and networking. And they are mine. They're what work for me. What are the things that can be on your dashboard? So that's about 3/4 of an hour. I'm going to stop it there. And I always call this the adventure begins, because as I said, Clive, it's not about the knowledge. It's about from the knowledge into application. And I'm looking at the questions, and I don't see any, Clive. How come?
As always, Les, you have provided so much information. They're all off doing it.
I love it.
That was an excellent explanation of how we can get an hour of our time back, because
indeed,
many of us will find that we can get more than that. Through the years, I've noticed that early on in life, I didn't have time for much. And then I started finding that I had time to do certain things, provided the main thing I discovered was put a time limit on, put a deadline. And all of a sudden there were a whole number of things that had a deadline, and all of a sudden those things were being done. And
yep.
Goodness me, time is such a malleable thing.
It is. And you got to work with it. You got to work based on the constraints you've got, but you've got to work it. It's like people go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late." I go, "You're not late. You're rude." It's like that's very abrupt, Les. It's very arrogant of you. It's like, no, you either show up on time and therefore honor the person in front of you, or you're rude because they gave a specific time specifically for you to be there and you didn't show up on time. Yeah, I'm saying that's not too good. Now, you can challenge me on that all you like. I don't really mind. I'm going, do you honor your agreements? And one of the easiest way to honor your agreements is that thing on the modern thing on your wrist, that the modern day thing on your wrist will give you alarms. If it's not in your pocket or your purse, and that's your phone, you can set an alarm, and the alarm will go, Les, it's 15 minutes before you need to be somewhere. And I go, great. Oh, I can walk out of here and go there and do the prep, and I'll be on time. Oh, by the way, it's coming up to that time with Clive. You need to get yourself ready. Thanks very much for that. And I'm able to go and do the prep and be on time for that. Set alarms on your phone, set alarms on your watch, whatever that might be. My wife, she's got a specific amount of things that she needs to do, and she just all the time sets alarms and the odds for this. But she does it all the time, and she's never ever late. I think it rubbed off on her, Clive. I'm not saying anything, Linda. Not saying anything at all. But
just for a moment there, I thought you were going to say you'd learn from her, but no.
I'm going to leave it well alone.
One thing
very organised, isn't it, Linda?
A question of a very general nature. We've just had a pandemic that for 2 years kept a lot of us at home instead of going to work, and a lot of us learned to work from home. A lot of us didn't learn to work from home during that period. How has that changed the general feel of people out there in your marketplace? Are you finding more people finding it difficult or less people finding it difficult to control their time?
It's challenging. It's challenging. I think it's a constant. I think it's a constant. It's just change of circumstance. And thanks, Linda. I understand you're always on time, and I appreciate that because you're a go-getter. The thing about the pandemic is it changed our circumstances from, particularly where we are in Victoria, the lockdowns really did that thing of, okay, now that you used to do that, you now need to do this, and with frame. So what are you going to do with that? So you didn't have the travel, so you got back time there. You had the working from home. It's like the time meld of, I don't know what time start or what time finish. I'm multitasking. People ended up not getting anything done or anything completed because of the amount of things that they had at any one time. So it's like, oh, surely I can do the laundry. Sure, I can do this. Sure, I can do some gardening. Surely I can take the dog for a walk. It's like, well, yes, if you put it into a schedule, oh, isn't that too rigid, Les? Well, do you want to get stuff done or not? And I don't mind. I truly do not mind what you do or don't do, but is it working for you? Because if it's not working for you, do something different. And people don't like to change. So when COVID hit, we needed to change. We needed to change a whole things. And it's in that change we were able to then go, okay, did that work? Did it not work? If it worked, then how do we then acknowledge it and do more of what worked? Or in that case, do some things differently to create more of the results that we're after.
Yes, and you mentioned another very, very important point there, of course. We put deadlines on things and we get them done or we don't. The review is vital to make sure that you really monitor what's going on.
At the end of it, like what worked, what didn't work? Did this project work? Did this task work? Did it work on time? Is it something that you'd like to do again? Every time, I got an email this morning. I'm doing an international leadership facilitation at the moment in Asia Pacific, and I immediately got an email from HR of this firm saying, is there anything we need to change going forward? So it's a great communication because it's the open door of, yes, we need to change some things, or no, everything ran smoothly. But they are checking in to go, are you okay? Is everything working? And gives us the opportunity to at least acknowledge if things don't work and therefore change them.
Yes. And for all of those people out there who are afraid of change, I can vouch for change as a wonderful thing, as long as you're in charge of it.
Nice.
That's the important thing. Take charge. Take some of the Time Lord's suggestions. That will give you control over what you're doing. You'll change all sorts of things and you won't even notice it.
Yep. One of the big things, Clive, that I come across is procrastination. And I'm sure none of the viewers and listeners are procrastinators at all. Business. So it's on like you wouldn't believe. However, if you know of any procrastinators, Mel Robbins wrote a really good book, and there's a YouTube of the 5-second rule. And if you have a good idea and it can be way and it's within your integrity and lines up with your goals, then do it. And the story is that Mel Robbins got into quite a quagmire in life, and she was late for the kids' lunch and kids getting into school, and was laying in bed and just hitting the snooze. And one night she saw an ad, and it had a rocket ship launching off, and it was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. And she went, I'm going to try that in the morning. I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just going to burst out of bed and see what happens. Well, the next morning comes, and when she would normally open her eyes to the alarm and hit the snooze button, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and she launched herself out of bed and got into the day, and she went, can't be that simple. And she did it the next day as well, and the next day and the next day, and it became a thing. And she's on the international speakers circuit. She wrote a book about it. If you think about it, if it's a good idea, then do it. For example, I should move that from there to there. I'll do it later. No, you can do it, and it's really easy. So do it. You move it. I should go up to that person and take the should out of it and go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If it's in your integrity, and go up to that person. So those sorts of things are an instigator of pull up the big boy panties and the big girl panties and take your courage and do the things you want to do and risk and have the courage to go forward in your life and create what it is supposed to be on the back end. Go, oh, I kind of always wanted to write a book, but it's been 40 years now, and nah. So don't do that. Just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start, whatever that might be for you.
Indeed. And of course, it reminds us of the often quoted saying, we're more likely at the end of our time to regret the things we didn't do rather than the things that we did do.
Yes, even this morning I heard the famous one of no one gets to their deathbed and say, I wish I'd spend more time at the office.
Yes.
So the office, it's about what are the things you want to do, and do those. Get on with it. Put it in your trusted system. Put deadlines around it. Have a go and go towards those things you're after. And that can be personal, it can be business. I want to, like I said, I'm going to go to Japan. Why? Because I am going to go to Japan this year. Well, I should have said a couple of months. Why? Because I've wanted to, and this is the time I am going to go. Rather than, oh, it'd be nice to go. No, I'm tacking it on. I'm doing 6 days of training in Singapore and then off to Japan. Why? Because I've set a goal for myself.
Good. And it sounds like a very good goal. And hopefully, well, how long until then?
Only February.
The blossoms will probably be gone. Never mind.
Never mind. Now, Maeve has said, how much time a day do you spend relaxing? It's a great question, because people go, yeah, but you get so much done, you don't have time to relax. Of course I do. I have a loving wife, a great relationship, and I spend time with her often. So we have breakfast together, we have lunch together, we have dinner together, and we relax after dinner together. So we go for walks together. Now, for some people, they go, oh, I've got a great relationship, I don't have that. Well, I can't speak to that. I'm just going, what I can speak to is I do my relaxing. I do my relaxing with my wife because I love her, and we do have the time to relax. And one of the things we've found recently is a really good birds and wind chime changes the atmosphere. So relaxing. We're coming close to time, Clive.
We are, and I'm wondering if you can, within 1 minute and 15 seconds, tell us where we can find you and put a time limit on it so people can actually get there.
It's Les at Get More Time. You can go to the website, getmoretime.com.au, and my coaching is creatingsuccesscoaching.com.au. Any of those would work. You'll find all of my details on the website, getmoretime.com.au. Both of them are linked. And if you hit me up at les at getmoretime.com.au, I'll give you that audio as well. That is the incompletions list.
Excellent offer. And notwithstanding we call him the Time Lord, no, you won't find him on the ABC's Doctor Who.
No, not at all.
Mind you, he's probably good competition for them.
Yes, indeed. Now, one other thing, I've got some time tips, and I'm happy to give a PDF to anyone. So again, hit me up if you want 25 time tips for busy people. Happy to give it to you.
There you go. Absolutely wonderful. Liz, on behalf of the business community, thank you. Excellent information, and everybody should be doing it, because if everybody's doing it, we'll all have better lives.
Indeed.
So let's get on it. Liz, wonderful to see you again, and
likewise.
Come back soon.
Will do. Thanks very much, Clive.
Bye. Oh, and just before I go, we're back next week, and next week you can find out all about grants.